Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
What are you doing?
Dun, 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 dun. Da, da, da. Welcome to our X-Men 97 review. Hi everyone, I'm Brandon.
Hi, I'm James.
I'm still Kyle.
He's still Kyle.
Every time.
Every
still
time.
Kyle.
Remember when it's changing.
He wasn't hit with an adamantium bullet to the head.
Anyways, we got the first two episodes of X-Men 97.
Oh, hell yeah.
Long-awaited
The return.
follow-up to the Member Berry cartoon we all loved
I gotta
as kids.
say, I don't even know if it's long awaited because I don't know
kids.
if anyone thought that we were gonna get it until they announced it.
So that was my thing to begin with, is when they announced it, I was like, I was kind of hoping for just a new cartoon.
Right.
Not necessarily a continuation of, like, for all intents and purposes, that was a big part of my childhood.
Right.
That was my beginning into nerdom, that and Batman the Animated Series, and rewatching it. It's a rough rewatch.
It is. The first, I'll admit, I am easily entertained by almost anything. If you put it in front of me, I'm like a baby. I'm like, sometimes I'll come on to something like Phantom of the Paradise, The Godfather, and I'm like, this is brilliant. I understand art. I am complex. But most times I'm just like, a movie. So rewatching it, so I was like, it's okay. It's nothing bad. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The only things that bothered me were continuity changes for children and the 5th season animation style change.
I see. I'm gonna say rewatching that show, like, it's just shown how far animation has come.
yes,
Because
absolutely.
the fights are kind of lame.
Oh.
The dialogue is not great. So
God.
having rewatched that, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna dig like more of this. Are they gonna
Right.
do it in the same vein? Like,
And I don't know if I speak for everybody here. It's hard to go from 90s American cartoon with like the choppy animation to a more modern one that's a lot more fluid.
it felt like an.
It's like,
okay, so yeah, getting into that.
So as you go from the original series, which clearly, again, 20 years ago was wild, and they were working with what they got. You know what I mean? They didn't have a massive budget, but to see what they took with the first 2 episodes of the new season, I guess.
Yeah.
I am beyond excited for where
dude.
we are.
Cannot
Absolutely.
wait for more of these
Absolutely.
episodes. They
So
knocked
good.
it out of the park.
So good.
I did see. I know there was the one, which is funny because I thought it was a joke, but there were some people on Reddit that were really upset that Rogue's ass wasn't as predominant anymore.
What?
Kind of thought that was a joke, and I was like, oh no, some of these people are upset
mad.
about it.
Oh, it's like when Snake got nerfed for Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Well, and then someone else was like, they took Bishop's mullet. How dare they? And I was like, yeah, you know what?
That's
fair.
called a good thing.
Shout out to
Oh,
Morph.
listen, his mullet was great
I gotta say,
in the
but
comics back in the day.
I love that they added Morph to the intro.
Yes, I am so happy Morph is
and
back.
just adding him to overall.
He's getting his dues. That
Yeah.
man was beat up so bad in the original, and I'm a little upset because the intro kind of shows, like, I think they're showing possible stories coming up. It looks like he's still got shit he's fighting with, and I'm like, you leave Morph alone. You leave him? Morph alone.
Leave my boy alone!
We went through this with Morph already. He doesn't need to experience any more trauma.
Don't talk to
he's
me or my
thoroughly
son
fucked up.
ever
He
again.
looks like he's on the mend. We're all pulling for him. Don't throw him back into
Leave
this.
him alone.
And they're going to.
Stop.
But, so with these first 2 episodes, we saw the aftermath of, spoiler alerts for the people that haven't seen the original.
It's been
cartoon.
20 years.
I know, but I'm giving you that anyway.
You should be watching
Life
this.
without Professor X.
Yes.
Whoops.
And how this first episode is them kind of dealing with that, and then we find the will and testament of Mr. Xavier
After destroying a second Master Mold, which, why was there a second one?
That was so cool, though. Like
It was.
the whole scene, and like, man, one of the hardest parts about the rewatch of the original show is Storm's dialogue, and I was afraid we were gonna get that, and we kind of did, but man, they made her so cool.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
okay, so
in the
two-
first episode.
I have 2 questions on
Yes.
that aspect too. With the Storm send-off, it almost felt like a send-off to the character. Was there something that I missed there? Like, did
I
she
feel
not
like that's
come back,
I think
or-
that's a bigger storyline
Okay.
they're gonna get into.
Agreed.
Because like I
Agreed.
thought like maybe the voice actor didn't want to come back, or like they were just like, let's just kind of send Storm off. It just
No,
felt like
I think they're gonna do
bow out
something with
moment.
her,
In
as far as like building up to that, because I didn't think any of that was. But man, talking about that, that whole scene, that's the Magneto I always want to see.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
That
Magneto,
was so
yes.
good. That was, and like,
I found the Will and Testament.
well, just him at the UN of being like,
Oh, yes.
like when he just takes them all into space and he's like, I'm trying to be cool, and you're really testing me.
You guys are being good. You guys are very good at this.
I was here, I was going along, and look what happened. Just like you said in X-Men 3, Storm is depowered, and it pisses him off. He doesn't
Oh
leave
my
her
god!
there.
And this is good Magneto writing.
Yeah, this is
is
great.
good Magneto writing, and this is what Magneto is like. He is the definition of shut up for 5 minutes.
Did we all watch the original recently? Like we all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does anyone remember that when Magneto and Charles were fighting, Charles makes him relive the Holocaust?
Oh yes. Oh,
And
not the
his-
Holocaust. The
well,
unnamed,
the
ambiguous
unnamed
massacre of his
war. He's
people.
like, no, the war and my
Which,
people. And I
which
was
they
like,
did
listen,
technically retcon
As
in
a-
the new one, because he does say my people were persecuted for calling God by a different
well,
name.
it's
Like,
a different
thank
time.
you for changing it.
You could, I don't know that like a '90s writers' room was like, we should bring up the Holocaust, right?
Well, it was also made for kids.
Well, that's
and-
what I'm saying.
Which the irony
like-
is, we do teach kids about the Holocaust in school.
But
so it's
on
like,
that, on that rewatch, I was like, oh, that's pretty fucked up, dude. Like,
Charles, Jesus,
sweet shit.
calm
dude.
down, bud.
He really was out of options.
Charles,
He's
stop,
I
stop.
don't want to have to do this, but I guess you're reliving Germany.
So
God.
going into this season that we have Magneto taking over the school.
Yes.
So as that being the plot point moving forward, how long do you think that will be a thing? Do you think that he will go down this direction and like actually play the uncanny kind of feel?
How many
Yes, I
episodes
would
is it?
love
Is
it.
it 12 or?
I think
12
it's,
episodes?
I mean that's
I'm sure
30
you'll probably get
minutes,
most
so-
of this season, and then towards the end, you'll have like somebody fraction off with him to find the Brotherhood, because the Brotherhood's still in the intro, so you have to figure you're going to see some of them at some point.
Right.
These first 2 episodes definitely felt like they wanted to make sure they established where everyone was at and how everybody was before we get into like more of that stuff. But I definitely think by the end we'll see him back in with his helmet.
And we have the introduction, well, pseudo-introduction of Nathan Summers, which this is going to lead into the whole shit show that is Cable and time travel.
Well, I mean, Cable is in the original show, so he
Exactly.
does exist, but I don't know that it's ever established that he finds out that
No.
Cyclops and Jean find
they
out.
don't.
No,
they don't
no.
establish.
Jean
They
does.
establish
Jean
that they
finds
know.
out.
Jean finds out, but they never talk about it.
No, it's never
They
talked
pull
about.
an Ace Attorney, which is a reference that won't make sense to anybody
Then
here.
stop making them.
No, because the internet will
Give
get
me
it.
a news. They won't. I promise.
Phantom of the
you.
Paradise, you'll get that one. So
3 people got that right.
exactly. So
Or 2 of them.
you have the reveal of Nathan Summers, which he could get sick.
Madeline Pryor. So
Oh, yes,
ending
yes.
with Jean and Jean. I
Wait
think
a
it's
minute.
An awesome build to
Yeah.
what we're.
Absolutely, which means
Trying to get into.
Mr.
So-
Blister is going to get more screen time.
There's 2 directions I
Give me
think
a-
that they can go with this whole thing. Is I think 97 as a concept, I think they might expand on, because I've also heard rumblings of them bringing in the 97 Spider-Man.
Okay.
And like definitely like more of the, you know how they did the crossovers in the originals, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like
That was on
between
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Right.
Wolverine and
so it's
Captain
like they,
America
I
go fight Red
believe
Skull.
I've
Yeah.
heard that they're going for that same aspect where they're going to bring in more superheroes and things like that. So it makes me feel like they're planting seeds that if this
Cool.
all goes well, that we might just have a whole 97 universe that they're going to work with. I feel like they kind of pigeonholed themselves by calling it 97, personally.
Well, something I want to make a point of with that was 97. I mean, we're closer to the 2000s than we were when that show was airing and ended. So I almost think that they moved it up a few years because we're closer to the year 2000. You can bring more mutants in. You can start making it more modern and less
Yeah.
90s throwback.
And
Right.
you have all the storylines that have been made since then that you can pull from.
Right, but does the title itself pigeonhole where you can go with it, or do you?
I mean,
just drop
unless
the
they
97 after the season?
unless it's like every season will be 98 and then 99 and then
I was going to say, it really
X-Men
doesn't
2000.
stop them
Ooh, you know what?
from
The things
Yeah.
named 2000, like any movie that had 2000 in the title, never
Never did well.
Dracula 2000. Anybody?
Like, if they feel like they
Anybody?
have to keep newer storylines relegated to a newer time, newer point in time, then yes, they pigeonhole themselves. But if they do like House of M in 97, it's like, no, then there's no pigeonhole.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did that to establish like kind of what you're saying, but I mean, as long as you're seeing time progress, I don't think you'll pigeonhole.
Okay.
And they've already started on stuff that was in the 90s and are building up to stuff that continues well into like our current era of comic books. So they're definitely not too concerned with staying to the 90s.
So overall, 1 to 10, where did you place the first 2 episodes on the series versus the original? And do you think that...
Dude, night and day difference on the original.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would give them both. Like, I'm not going to say like they were the greatest. Like 7 on both. Like those were solid starts. I like seeing Cyclops with a backbone.
Yeah.
I like seeing like that's my favorite type of Cyclops is when he finally stops being like the Boy Scout. He does get a little butthurt here with some of it, but
Yeah.
How dare you, Magneto?
yeah, I'd give them both a solid 7.
I'd say I'd go with Brandon. 7 first episode, great reintroduction to the characters. Morph is back. Yay.
They're gonna hurt him. I'm just preparing myself to watch him get hurt.
They're going to hurt him. I'd give the second episode an 8 out of 10 because Magneto being a good guy is probably my, well, more anti-hero, but being patient is probably my favorite storyline because I love Magneto actually being nice. What are your thoughts on the first 2 episodes?
I would say I probably am in that 7.5 range. It's like definitely was better than I expected because I didn't have a lot of hope like that they were going to actually care. And that was
I think that's why I was apprehensive with it. Is I was like, how much are they gonna do with this that isn't just like nostalgia value?
Yeah,
and then I saw that storm sequence where she just goes crazy, and I was like, I'm here for it. All right, we did it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that scene, I was like,
yeah.
this is what I want.
Yeah.
And Storm loses her powers, which I shouldn't have to say that is not nostalgia bait whatsoever, because if they were nostalgia bait, Storm would not have been touched in that respect.
No, they're gonna do some other things. It
Exactly.
feels like, but I mean, I think this is a great start. It's much better than I anticipated.
Absolutely. An Executioner showing up, it's like, that is a cut I was not expecting.
Yeah.
So, last thing before we wrap this whole thing up, I'm sure everyone at home watching this who doesn't understand wants to comprehend why Magneto can touch Rogue.
Electromagnetism. You want the science nerd to do it?
Yes.
So, Magneto has complete control. He even says this. He has complete control over electromagnetism. So, he's able to basically make it so that they never actually, well, technically, if you really want me to be scientific about it, you never actually physically touch anything because the electrons in, like, say, the floor and your foot are repelling each other. So the sensation of touch is the sensation.
Hey guys, I'm back around. So they can touch each other because of science. Anyway,
it's electromagnetism. We can
let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
And go watch it. Go support this because it's good. Electromagnet. New one. Okay, you guys ready? Yes.
Yeah.
3, 2.
Dun, 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 dun.
What are you doing?
Dun, 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 dun. Da, da, da. Welcome to our X-Men 97 review. The land that time forgot.
Who are you?
The Lost World. So we've got